Now that Najee Harris is in the NFL, it's time for the next great Alabama running back to take his place. Although Brian Robinson isn't a big name yet, I think he has what it takes to become a star.
Brian Robinson broke one tackle, another into the end zone, touchdown Alabama.
I originally was going to make a video on a star in Bajan Johnson out of Texas, but some people beat me to the punch, so I decided to search the web for a new guy. While looking around, I found out that the starting Alabama running back in Brian Robinson has flown under the radar. So I figured, hey, let's talk about him. Straight out of Tuscaloosa, out of all places, Brian grew up as a football player through and through. And as a senior, it all came to show when he rushed for nearly 1,000 yards and 18 touchdowns. As he came out of high school as a 4-star recruit, a top 10 player, and the best back in the state, it only makes sense that he would end up with Bama. Although some big names like Auburn, Georgia, and Ole Miss were all after him, Brian decided it was only right for him to stay close to home and join the Crimson Tide. Going into Alabama, Brian was the 5th back on the depth chart, behind a loaded room with talent like Damian Harris, Bo Scarborough, Najee Harris, and Josh Jacobs all ahead of him. Although pretty far down the roster, Brian was able to get at least some reps, as he had nearly 150 yards on nearly 7 yards per carry in his first season. Not bad, but a bit less than a fellow freshman in Najee, who was able to put up nearly 400 yards that year. Going into both of their sophomore seasons, the gap between the two was realized, as Najee rushed for over 500 more yards than Brian. It's pretty tough to be in a situation like that in Bama, because not only is a colleague in Najee outproducing you, but also the upperclassmen in Damian and Josh, and so there's not too many carries to go around for my man Brian. No matter the case, with both Damian Harris and Josh Jacobs making the leap to the NFL, Brian became the number 2 back the following year. Although he was in a much better spot than before, Brian was still behind a star in Najee, so it makes sense that he wasn't able to put up crazy stats, and so he was only able to have just over 400 yards on 4.6 yards per carry. Going into his 4th season with the team, Brian was once again stuck as a backup, and practically duplicated the stats of his previous year, with just under 500 yards on 5.3 yards per carry. Although an underwhelming end to his 4th season at Alabama, because of the whole virus situation, Brian was given one last shot to prove what he can do with one more year of eligibility. With Najee now in the NFL, Brian is finally the number 1 back, and so now he has a chance to show what got him here in the first place. Before we talk more about my man Brian, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe for more stuff like this, turn on noties in order to stay tuned, and grab a shirt if you want. Anyways, back to the video. As a 5th-year senior, Brian has been with the Crimson Tide for a while, and through that time has improved year after year, waiting for his moment to shine. In Brian's case, he sees the extra year of eligibility as a gift to take advantage of, as he is all in for it. In particular, he's hoping to use this season to become a better player on and off the field, and upon that sees a lot of ways to win this year. Throughout his time at Alabama, Brian has put up nearly 1,400 yards and 15 touchdowns, but in this season alone is looking to duplicate that production. During all his time on the bench, Brian has been taking care of his body and is feeling fresh going into such a monumental season. While he was thinking about what to do with the extra season, good old Nick Saban lent his 2 cents as he talked about the benefits of coming back and getting that much better for the next level. Not only has Brian taken this time to improve his game, but also used his experience to become a leader within the locker room and hopefully carry that spirit that led to so much success last season. As a whole, the year seems like a perfect opportunity for Brian to prove why he was such a high recruit out of high school. I can imagine that watching all those guys work day in and day out shows what it takes to be that good, and I think that experience will help Brian get to the next level. I mean, it's not like Brian has no experience under the limelight. He's played for 4 years and put up solid stats when he's been given the chance. Although he's played 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, or whatever string behind extremely talented players year after year, Brian has learned much more skills than just pure play on the field and has developed a great deal of patience. Going through training camp after training camp and not getting many carries is tough to deal with, and the fact that Brian has stayed with it through all this time is truly a testament to his character. The fact that Saban has spoke time and time again about Brian's perseverance and how he deserves the ability to show what he's learned from all this time as a backup is a pretty great sign. It makes it seem like Brian is going to take full opportunity of this season, and he used experience from the year to make a trip to the NFL. So now that we've set up Brian's situation going into 21, I think it's time to talk about what he can do. Just like pretty much every single running back in the past decade for Bama, Brian is in for a large workload throughout the regular season and almost certainly postseason. It's nothing new for Brian to go 100% game in and game out, but now that he is the number 1, he has the chance to lead the Crimson Tide to some legitimate success. I mean, it's not like he's alone. There's a great quarterback in Bryce Young, and obviously solid talent all over the offense and defense. But as a running back at Alabama, he has a lot to live up to. Coming off of a stellar year out of Najee Harris, the Crimson Tide are looking for another future back in Brian to make the offense next to unstoppable. And you know what? I think Brian is good enough to make the Crimson Tide the team to beat for yet another year. But it's really up to his play on the field. What do you think that Brian and the Crimson Tide are going to do in 2021? Comment down below if you think they're winning it all once again. Anyways, Brian has worked day after day and year after year to get to this point, and I'm pretty sure he's not looking back.
2nd and goal from the 1. It's Robinson, not Najee Harris. He gets collared, but he scores.
Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed, it would be awesome if you could subscribe, like, and comment down below what stuff you want next. But anyways, see you all soon and peace out.